Over the last recent years, the legalization of marijuana has increased. Since the legalization of marijuana, there has been a 28 usage increase, a 28 percentage increase in usage in the country. Over the last recent years, marijuana has been easier to get and it has been negatively affecting the lives of teenagers in our country. We all may know someone who uses it. We all may have a family member or a cousin or a friend who uses it, or we might know someone who brings us around it. Yet, I think as a country and a society, we tend to overlook the dangers of the drug. After being curious to know more of how much harm the drug of cannabis can affect us, I researched a bunch and looked at a bunch of articles and a bunch of studies conducted by researchers to see the true effects of marijuana. Today I will be talking about how easy it is for marijuana to be obtained by teenagers, and I'll also be talking about how it can impact their health and it can impact their lives. To bring us to our first main point, we live in a country where marijuana is legalized. Therefore, it is very easy to obtain. As a teenager or somebody in high school, they may all know somebody who can buy the drug for them. They might have an older friend or an older sibling who can go into a legal weed shop and get the cannabis for them. They also may do this themselves. A group of researchers, and on healthday.com, a group of researchers posted in 2023, they did an experiment where they looked online at 80 different online dispensaries in the area. They found that 20% of the dispensaries didn't require any age verification or anything that required the buyer to verify their identity. This means that anybody under the age of 21, anybody who was underage to use the drug could just order it directly to their house. Now, teens also, they may also buy drugs from dealers. Now, these dealers, it can be a danger because these dealers, they may sell counterfeit products where you don't know what's inside of them. An article posted in 2019, the founder of a company called THC Design, James Gentleman, he compared the black market of the drug industry to being like the flea market of like the clothes industry. You might see something and buy it thinking that it's a real authentic product, yet in reality it really isn't. Also, these counterfeit products can be very dangerous to use and can take a big effect on someone's health. In 2019, NBC Los Angeles, they posted an article where a group of researchers, they bought some of these counterfeit products to test them, and they found that there was a lot of illegal amounts of pesticides, illegal amounts of heavy metals such as lead, which we all know has a big history of being poisonous in our country. So now that we've kind of talked about how easy it is for the drug to be obtained in the U.S. by teens, it's kind of time to talk about how frequent use can start to take a toll on their health. In 2022, so according to the CDC, 3 in 10 people who tend to use marijuana, they tend to grow an addiction to it. They also found that teens were 3.5 times more likely to become addicted, especially if they started using it at a younger age. This is dangerous because over time, teens, when they start using more and more of the drug, their tolerance becomes higher, and over time they need more of the drug to kind of feel the same effects. And this is bad because over time, this can lead to dependency, meaning that these teenagers will kind of really depend on the drug to function, which you know is addiction. Now, these addiction can be defined by a variety of different symptoms. Cravings. It can whether it leads to failures at school or at work. It can be just a lot of different things that can add up. Scientists in the CDC, they also found, in the University College of London, they found that about 50% of the teenagers that they conducted had these symptoms for addiction. They found that teenagers were 3.5 times more likely to become addicted, which kind of shows how how over time the drug kind of alters the brain into craving more and more of the drug. In 2016, the National Library of Medicine, they concluded that frequent use of marijuana in students, over time, it has also contributed to less students tend to not include themselves as much in extracurricular activities and in school. It's when they use marijuana. It's also they also found that it's connected to low GPAs and low dropout grades. So it kind of that kind of goes to show how over time it can really affect the student and get into their life if they don't if they're not responsible with it. So now that we've kind of talked about how over time these effects can take toll on their health and can take toll into their lives, it's kind of time to conclude what we kind of talked about here. So to kind of conclude everything, once again, marijuana has been easier to get over the last few years, and it is negatively impacting teenagers in our country. Today we talked about how easy it is for teenagers to get, how they can easily get it at school from dealers, how they can know someone could possibly buy it for them. We also talked about how it can negatively impact their health. It could alter their brain. It could lead things to depression and anxiety, memory issues and stuff like that. So just to overall conclude everything, to overall sum up everything, knowing this information, I think it's time for our country to make better decisions. Thank you, everybody.